Drew Jenkins thinking that people really want him, he posted this and it's outrageous. So he started by putting, these are the same sunglasses wearing weirdo white guys that hide behind sunglasses in or outside no matter the weather, right? He screenshotted, apparently he doesn't know what scammers are. So let's talk about it and let's introduce that to him. He then goes on to say most drive a truck lifted and think that since they have sunglasses in a truck, they intimidate somebody. Nah, y'all look like morons and y'all can't drive, especially female Karens in sunglasses. Oh my goodness. He doesn't know what scammers are. It says, hello, beautiful, hello, princess. If $5,000 were deposited into your money. Do you really think they want you, Drew Jenkins? Do you really think they can support your lifestyle of being on your PS5 and doing nothing? I don't want to live in a world where Drew Jenkins really thinks that 53 people up there are trying to like support him and just want him. No, boo, it's only Stephanie Jenkins. Stephanie Thompson. This is wild.
The so-called head of the resilient family, Drew, seems to have checked out completely. Instead of focusing on the chaos unfolding around him, or, more importantly, the well-being of his children, he's online, rambling about spam texts and sunglasses. No, this isn't satire. It's the reality of a man who should be showing up as a father but chooses social media stunts instead. Let's break down what's really going on with Drew, Stephanie, and the growing storm their kids are being dragged into. After skipping out on a court hearing related to unpaid debt, a warrant was publicly issued for Drew's arrest. You'd think a father of 5, already living in a cramped motel with nowhere stable to go, would treat that seriously. But not Drew. He hopped right back on TikTok like it was just another Tuesday, posting, "Who wants me to go live?" Just think about that. No job, no stable home, a warrant hanging over his head, and the top thing on his to-do list is going live at 11 p.m. Not to take accountability, not to explain what happened, and certainly not to discuss how he plans to turn things around for his family. Just pure attention seeking. And yes, he went live. But when viewers asked real questions, why he missed court, why he's still keeping little Deshawn away from his biological mom, Desiree, or what his long-term plan is, he danced around everything. In the background, their infant daughter cried for minutes on end, and Drew muted and unmuted like she was just white noise. That moment said it all. A responsible parent would have paused the stream and tended to the baby. But Drew didn't even flinch. His focus isn't on fatherhood, it's on the algorithm. That's not just negligent, it's delusional. And the denial runs deep. When someone brought up him driving without a license, he didn't pause to clarify or admit fault. Instead, he claimed the documents weren't real, even though court records confirming his license was cancelled were already circulating online. He looked straight into the camera and lied, as if viewers hadn't already seen the truth for themselves. Why lie when the proof is out there? Is it arrogance, or does he genuinely believe his own falsehoods now? Either way, it's disturbing. This is a man who's knowingly driving kids around with no legal license. That's not just irresponsible, it's dangerous. And the chat? It was filled with people pleading for him to do the right thing, let Deshawn go back to his mother. These weren't trolls, these were concerned viewers, asking the hard but necessary questions. Why is Drew so determined to hold on to Deshawn when he clearly has no steady job, no safe home, and no real reason to keep him away from his mom? But instead of answering, he shut down. Ignored the flood of comments. Got defensive. Clapped back like the viewers were the problem, not the mess he's made of his life. At no point did he mention a plan for school, housing, a job, nothing. This wasn't a man taking accountability. This was someone dodging reality at full speed. People tuned in hoping to see even a hint of responsibility, a flicker of change, or at least some concern for his kids' futures. Instead, they got a live stream full of ego, avoidance, and static. Drew didn't go live to clear the air. He went live to escape it.
Not Drew Jenkins trying to go live when he has a full-on warrant and he's missing court dates. Okay, let's talk about it. So, Drew Jenkins of the Resilient Jenkins has been ducking and dodging court dates since he was in the womb. And what's wild about this is the fact that Arlita's going after him for child support. Now, Arlita is the baby mama to his oldest son that he doesn't take care of. I believe he's gonna be like 13 already. Like, that's how long he's been a deadbeat for. So, as a matter of fact, I think if Drew Jenkins does go live, we should all ask the same comment. And that is, well, we should comment a couple of things. Number one, why was the baby left outside? Where is Bubba? That is gonna be our first comment. Number two, when are you going to pay child support? That is a good one. Also, Where's the PS5? These are all just
goes live on TikTok after 11 p.m. when the children are all trying to sleep. The baby's crying in the background multiple times. He keeps muting. He's not addressing anybody, but then he says that he doesn't have a real warrant. Yes, you do. And he says his license is not suspended. Yes, it is. And then he just argues with people, mutes, says ridiculous stuff, mutes. Stephanie's in there under other accounts being like, going after everybody. Like, girl, we know it's you. Chill out. If you're even gifting him, yeah, it's you. And then we're all in there, free Deshawn, like the whole chat for like 5 minutes. Free Deshawn. And then he's like, this chat is so boring. I'm getting off. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe you should go turn yourself in. Maybe you should do that.
At the heart of Drew's latest live stream wasn't accountability, honesty, or any kind of plan for his struggling family. It was all about one thing: TikTok gifts. Not taking responsibility for the court-issued warrant, not explaining how he plans to get his 5 kids out of a cramped motel, not even addressing the fact that he hasn't held a steady job in who knows how long. No. He went live because he wanted button gifts, the kind that turn into real money. And sadly, he got exactly what he was looking for. People showed up hoping to see a father finally take ownership, but instead, they got a performance. Drew sat there fishing for likes and virtual gifts while completely ignoring the real-life chaos around him. His court issues are getting worse, his family's barely holding on, and yet he's live streaming like nothing's wrong. That's not just irresponsible, it's borderline delusional. The truth is, Drew isn't just an absent father, he's a clout chaser. A man who'd rather chase views than chase a better life for his kids. Out of all the problems he should be focused on, homelessness, no job, a pending warrant, Drew chose to spiral over something completely unrelated: men in sunglasses. Yes, seriously. He launched into a full-blown rant on his live about white weirdos in sunglasses, accusing them of trying to sneak into Stephanie's DMs. He painted this imaginary army of online homewreckers like they were plotting to destroy his relationship, when in reality, most of the comments he was reacting to came from obvious spam accounts. You know the ones, generic copy-paste flirty comments that flood every woman's post. But Drew took it personally, as if Stephanie was under siege, and he was the only one standing between her and some imaginary digital threat. And let's not ignore the irony. The same man calling others jobless creeps is sitting in a motel, unemployed, dodging court, and living off Stephanie's TikTok earnings. He's not mad at those spam comments. He's not mad at sunglasses. He's mad at the idea that someone out there might have what he doesn't: stability, confidence, and direction. That rant wasn't about protecting Stephanie. It was his insecurity screaming through the screen.
Now Jenkins trying to go live when he has a full-on warrant and he's missing court dates. Okay, let's talk about it. So, Drew Jenkins of the Resilient Jenkins has been ducking and dodging court dates since he was in the womb. And what's wild about this is the fact that Arlita's going after him for child support. Now, Arlita is the baby mama to his oldest son that he doesn't take care of. I believe he's gonna be like 13 already. Like, that's how long he's been a deadbeat for. So, as a matter of fact, I think if Drew Jenkins does go live, we should all ask the same comment, and that is, well, we should comment a couple of things. Number one, why was the baby left outside? Where is Bubba? That is going to be our first comment. Number two, when are you going to pay child support? That is a good one. Also, where is the PS5? These are all just like little brain ideas. I don't know, you can go ahead and comment, but follow me because I bring a lot of perspective to these silly situations.
Now he's calling Stephanie his wife all over social media, acting like they're a solid married couple, a picture of unity. But here's the thing, Stephanie is still legally married to someone else. Not just anyone either. Her actual husband, Jeremy Urson, is currently serving time in prison. There's no marriage certificate between Drew and Stephanie. No legal union. No vows. It's all smoke and mirrors. Drew's obsession with calling her his wife isn't about love, it's about image. He wants the title because it makes him look stable, like a real man, like a provider. But the reality couldn't be further from the truth. He's holding onto that label like it's the last thread holding together the fantasy he's built online. Because if he admits the truth, that Stephanie legally belongs to someone else, then his entire TikTok persona starts to unravel. What really reveals Drew's true character is not just what he chooses to say, but what he stays silent about. When people come after Stephanie online, calling her a bad mom, accusing her of using her kids for clout, or questioning the safety of their living situation, Drew doesn't defend her. Not once has he stepped in to protect her publicly when it actually matters. Instead, Stephanie is left to defend them both, diving into comment sections, fighting off accusations, and trying to control the narrative by herself. She's doing all the heavy lifting, raising the kids, dealing with public backlash, trying to maintain some form of stability, while Drew stays quiet until he sees a heart emoji in her DMs. That's when he finds his voice. That's what gets him fired up. Not concern for their children. Not the threat of losing housing. Just his own ego getting bruised by random online flirts. They stayed longer than they were supposed to, not because they had a plan, but because they were hoping they could pull off a loophole. Andre and Stephanie tried to use a squatter's rights, clinging to the idea that if they stayed long enough, they might be seen as tenants and make it harder for the motel to kick them out. But that's not how any of this works, especially not in temporary housing designed for quick turnarounds. Motels aren't homes. They're a last resort. And now, even that last resort is slipping away from them. Once again, they're being told to leave. Once again, the kids are watching everything fall apart around them. And heartbreakingly, they're used to it by now. They've seen the bags being packed more times than they can count. They've overheard their parents whispering, wondering where they'll go next. 7 people crammed into one tiny motel room, no space, no privacy, no sense of security. But this isn't just uncomfortable, it's damaging. These children aren't just moving from one place to another, they're surviving in constant chaos. There's no routine, no stability, no bedtime stories or favorite corners to feel safe in. Their lives shift daily, surrounded by yelling, strange noises, cold meals, stifling heat, and the overwhelming anxiety that everything could change again tomorrow. And it probably will. Meanwhile, Andre's not making plans. He's not calling shelters, not filling out job applications. He's not even packing. He's still online, glued to TikTok, more caught up in petty drama and online callouts than the very real crisis unfolding in front of him, the fact that his 5 children might be sleeping in a car next week. There are 5 innocent kids relying on him, but he acts like he doesn't have a single responsibility.
Hello, this is Stephanie Jenkins. I did not recognize her. Her mom posted this picture of her, and to be quite honest, she looks so much healthier. Her skin looks like it's kind of glowing. Now she does have some, I don't know, she doesn't have makeup or anything, but she looks sober. I don't know. How is it that you're with your mom and you choose to live with Drew Jenkins? I need an answer. Let's talk about this. You have the option to live in a house with your kids and build your bag, but instead, you choose to struggle in the guise of love with somebody who has to pay child support, someone that's never going to marry you, partially because you're already married to a pedophile, but that's neither here nor there. Why do you refuse to go and do better and instead, struggle? Why pick that? I think you can't show that you're resilient unless you put yourself in these situations. And so, I don't know.
At this point, it's beyond neglect, it's a lifestyle. And the worst part? He doesn't even seem to feel the weight of it. He scrolls. He posts. He deflects. While his children lose another piece of their innocence every time they're dragged to a new motel room and told to stay quiet, act normal, and pretend this isn't slowly breaking them. It's not just frustrating, it's heartbreaking. This kind of instability doesn't go away when the motel door closes. It stays with these kids. It carves deep emotional wounds. And while Andre fails to act, it's his children who pay the price for every one of his poor decisions. He's the living proof of the saying, every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. Andre's behavior isn't just careless, it's loud, obvious, and constant. From missing court dates, ignoring his kids' basic needs, and obsessing over TikTok comments instead of their futures, he's showing the world just how unfit he is to be a father. Maybe, just maybe, jail is the only thing that will force him to stop, sit still, and face reality. Behind bars, there are no live streams to hide behind, no mute buttons to escape consequences. Sure, the kids might miss him even if all he did was sit on the edge of a bed glued to his PS5. That's the thing about children, they love their parents, even when their parents fail them. But love doesn't fix what's broken. Hope has to meet reality. And if jail is the only place that forces Andre to understand that being a parent means more than just being present, it means showing up, providing, protecting, then maybe it's what needs to happen. Not as punishment, but as a wake-up call. Stephanie isn't innocent either. She once told the public she was getting off government assistance. She claimed she was doing better. But now she's saying she's completely broke. So what's the truth? Drew and Stephanie's situation isn't just messy, it's downright exhausting. On her own, maybe Stephanie could have found her footing, made better choices, or even created a stable environment for her kids. But with Drew in the picture, things don't just go sideways, they plummet. His presence doesn't just bring drama, it invites destruction. Every time he's involved, the situation unravels even faster. He's not a partner, he's an anchor, and not in the grounding way. Stephanie doesn't just tolerate his behavior, she enables it. She covers for him, defends him, and in doing so, drags herself and her kids deeper into dysfunction. Drew's priorities are wildly off. Instead of focusing on food, shelter, or security, he's glued to TikTok, stirring up fights with people who don't even exist in his real life.
Let's talk about how Jenkins is saying that she's not going to receive any kind of assistance, which is not true, and I have receipts. Now, first of all, the reason why she's saying that she's not going to be receiving assistance anymore is so that she doesn't get reported to welfare or to any kind of government assistance services because she's on TikTok. If she tells us, the public, that she's not receiving it anymore, then nobody's going to call and complain. Second, she is receiving assistance because where is she staying? A lot of sleuths have found that she is staying at a motel shelter. How would you qualify to stay at a motel shelter if my assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, is that they're income based? You don't get to stay at a shelter if you're making thousands and $20,000s a month. That doesn't make sense. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. That is not chocolate ice cream that I'm smelling. Like, do not lie to us, Stephanie Jenkins. She is still getting benefits, and there goes my proof.
He's obsessed with Steph's inbox and imaginary online enemies, while the roof over his children's heads becomes more and more unstable. He doesn't provide. He doesn't protect. And Stephanie, instead of stepping away or drawing a line, doubles down on loyalty, no matter the cost. They're now all packed into a single motel room, 5 of her kids, plus a 6th from a past relationship. 6 children sharing one room, with no sense of space, no privacy, and no security. It's not just crowded, it's harmful. This isn't a temporary setback, it's a way of life. A harmful, repetitive cycle of instability. Drew keeps sabotaging every step forward. Every opportunity gets torched the moment he's involved. And Stephanie? She follows his lead like there's no other option. She's not just stuck, she's sinking with him. The worst part is, the children are the ones being dragged under, and they never had a choice. What kind of future are they headed toward when their present is already a survival game? No bedtime stories, no routines, no room to breathe, just constant chaos. These kids are growing up watching their parents chase views instead of peace. They know the sound of live streams better than lullabies. Their normal is loud arguments, cold meals, and not knowing where they'll sleep next week. And while all this happens, Drew continues to scroll, ignoring reality, dodging responsibility, and acting like he owes nothing to the very people depending on him. He's not just avoiding parenthood. He's actively failing at it. And jail might be the only thing that actually forces him to stop, not because it's punishment, but because it's the only place that might make him sit still long enough to reflect. No live button. No comment section. Just silence and time, something he's never given to his children. Stephanie isn't guiltless either. She once told her followers she was getting off government assistance, trying to pull things together, but now she's allegedly still accepting benefits while earning money from TikTok without reporting it. If that's true, it's not just dishonest. It's fraud. And if she isn't getting assistance, how exactly are they surviving? They're not just lost, they're living on the edge. And that edge is getting sharper every day. The truth is, these kids didn't choose this life. They didn't ask for a motel room to be their childhood. They didn't ask for parents more concerned with going viral than getting stable. And they definitely didn't deserve to be dragged into the fallout of adult decisions made without care. So now we have to wonder, how much longer can this go on before the system steps in? before someone finally says enough is enough? Will Drew ever face consequences, not just for breaking the law, but for breaking his role as a father? And will Stephanie finally stop choosing chaos over her children's safety? Because at the end of the day, the question isn't whether these parents love their kids, it's whether they're capable of showing it in ways that count. Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Is jail the wake-up call Drew needs, or is this just a deeper descent? And do you think Stephanie will ever break free from this cycle, or is she too far in to see a way out? Turn on notifications, babe, because the way this story's unfolding, it's nowhere near done.